We have a breaking news story to tell you about. Apparently,
9/11, Watergate, the Cold War. No matter your age, think of a major news event, and there is likely a song that was written about it. Take, for example, Vietnam.
The enemy struck across the length and breadth of South Vietnam.
200 million guns loaded.
Many remember the day the music died.
Three young singers who soared to the heights of show business on the current rock and roll craze were killed today in the crash of a light plane in an Iowa snow flurry. The singers were identified as Richie Valens, 17, Buddy Holly, 22, and J.P. Richardson, known professionally as the Big Bopper.
Something touched me deep inside the day the music died.
Musicians write and record music that make us vividly remember news events. In our memory, it becomes the soundtrack of news. The director for Middle Tennessee State University's Center for Popular Music, Dr. Dale Cockrell, says news for centuries has been about social and political happenings, with music reflecting our world to us.
The first shots were fired on Fort Sumter, and 3 days later, a song was in publication in the United States in 1861. People realized that you need to express what's happening in the world, and one of the ways in which we do that is through music.
Cockrell says songs can change events, too.
My Old Kentucky Home is a kind of perfect example of Stephen Foster writing a song about slave family being broken apart, and it changes sensibilities as a result of that. So music has the power both to reflect social and political events, but also to change them as well.
Cockrell adds music is one way we express our sense of community.
Oh, say, can you see?
There's a reason that we sing the national anthem together. It's a way for all of us to give voice to who we are in a community. That has been one of the primary responsibilities of music from whenever music started.
That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed.
Where were you when the world stopped turning on that September day?
Belmont University professor of music business Don Cusick says, historically you had old penny ballads printed on sheet music where a news event generated a song. But what he sees now is a song matched up with a news event, such as the first invasion of Iraq.
You've got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
There was a song called You Gotta Stand for Something or You'll Fall for Anything. And it becomes a huge hit because it sort of parallels that.
Another example Cusick cites is the 4th of July and Sandy Patty singing God Bless America.
God bless America.
And all of a sudden, this becomes a huge, huge hit, and she becomes a huge star out of ABC television playing her version of God Bless America.
Associate Professor and Coordinator of Commercial Music at Tennessee State University, Dr. Mark Crawford, often finds news and music intertwined with political involvement.
You know, in my opinion, it seems like nowadays folks are so superficial in the music industry that they're not really jumping on so many bandwagons. And maybe they are, but it doesn't seem as obvious as it was, say, like for the 60s.
If you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear some flowers in your hair.
Crawford adds that some songs were about the Vietnam War, while others were about peace, such as Scott McKenzie,
that wrote Flowers in Your Hair, and inadvertently focused and directed a whole generation of young people to San Francisco because of this song.
More recently, Crawford says take a look at the connection with rap music.
You know, it's often been called the CNN of the hood because they are reacting, or at least did early on, reacting to their environments. So your environment, your circumstances, politics, social economic level, yeah, those are always good sources for music.
Twin soldiers and Nixon coming.
President Richard Nixon's expansion of the war produced a wave of student protests on campuses across the country.
Songwriters are inspired to write about love, peace, and freedom. The music reflects the sentiment of any generation because in our memory, the music becomes the soundtrack of news. I'm Terry Likes. You're listening to Tennessee Matters from the Tennessee Radio Network.